This is breaking news.
Cassie supporters say Diddy isn't a real man. Experts say that response isn't helpful. In the wake of a surveillance video showing Diddy Combs physically assaulting Cassie Ventura in 2016 and his subsequent video apology, a wave of solidarity for Ventura has made its way to social media. But some of the rhetoric that's circulating is problematic, experts warn. Ventura addressed her supporters on social media on May 23, writing, "Thank you for all of the love and support from my family, friends, strangers, and those I have yet to meet. The outpouring of love has created a place for my younger self to settle and feel safe now, but this is only the beginning. Domestic violence is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become." Real men don't hit women, many people commented following the video release, and that conversation continued in Ventura's comment section. Her husband Alex Fine also wrote, "Men who hit women aren't men," in an open letter. Others echoed a familiar sentiment, "He's not a man, he's a little boy." Reactions like these are meant to voice support for the victim, which is critical in addressing domestic violence in society. But there's also a problem with this response. It removes accountability from the act and infantilizes the perpetrators of violence against women. In fact, statistics show real men abuse women all the time. Real men don't hit women, and why this phrase isn't what you think it is. Masculinity involves the entitlement to use violence, says Lee Goodmark, author and law professor at the University of Maryland. And so to say that real men don't do that is untrue. Real men do use violence all the time. According to a 2020 study by the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men experience sexual violence, physical violence and or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime, and approximately 1 in 5 female victims and 1 in 20 male victims need medical care as a result. Separating real men from the general population of males committing domestic violence affects victims of all genders. If you say, "People shouldn't hurt people," absolutely, Goodmark says. But using these outdated binary, really problematic notions that there is a masculinity that we should all be looking for people to adhere to that is based on really outdated tropes is problematic, and we see it most often in the context of domestic violence because it's such a stark binary. Crystal Justice, Chief External Affairs Officer of the National Domestic Violence Hotline, the hotline, similarly adds, "Abuse in any form is never OK. While it's important to condemn this behavior, it is equally important to avoid gendered and racialized stereotypes that fuel stigma and often create additional barriers for people who are planning for their safety. Being a kind and supportive partner is not exceptional. It should be the norm regardless of one's identity." Experts say this rhetoric also removes accountability from male perpetrators and in turn does not create a pathway to rehabilitation. Goodmark explains, "If we just write him off as he's not a real man, then we've also written off our responsibility as a society to help him change in any way. Ultimately, for every partner that person will have, and for society generally, what we need is for that person to stop being violent." The phrasing also furthers some of the misconceptions about domestic violence, including that all perpetrators look and behave like monsters. One of the most entrenched, said Jillian Pinchevsky, an associate professor of criminal justice in the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, is that domestic violence is only physical. Pinchevsky previously told USA Today that in her class, she asks students to draw a picture of domestic abuse. The majority draw physical violence, a female victim, and a male perpetrator. But statistics shows domestic violence is much broader and far-reaching than many people realize. Why calling male perpetrators of domestic violence boys is problematic. Some people have reduced referring to Combs to a boy rather than a man for his actions. In addition to Ventura's lawsuit, which was settled within a day after filing in November, the Bad Boy Records founder is facing multiple lawsuits filed in recent months, claiming the music mogul raped or sexually assaulted several alleged victims over the past few decades. Combs has mostly denied all accusations against him, though he apologized for the violence committed toward Ventura. Infantilizing male abusers is not only counterproductive to combating the issue of domestic violence, but also perpetuates the idea that young boys are prone to violence. Boys are not inherently violent, Goodmark says. Boys learn violence, and boys learn violence because they live in a society that teaches them that to be men is to be violent, is to fight back.